How we doing, guys? We're back for another whiskey review this time around. Canadian whiskey. From basically the best well-known brand in Canada, Canadian Club, internationally renowned, well-known brand. Their standard stuff necessarily isn't all that great, but it's pretty good. But here we have a special one from them. This was previously just known as, I guess, their classic 12-year-old. But now they call it their small batch. It's just been a slight rebranding, and also apparently they are using smaller batches for this one to, you know, get more of a concentration of flavors. So 40% alcohol by volume. They even give you the batch and numbers here, so you can look in the bottle and you can compare. Apparently there is a fairly I wouldn't say large, but there's a significant difference between some of the batches apparently. This is C12-039, and it says Canadian Club small batch whiskeys are carefully crafted, blah blah blah. This is, to this day, our small volume whiskey distillation continues to rely on traditional pot stills. Yeah, there's nothing really, they didn't really tell you anything that you didn't already know, I guess. So we're going to pour this one, come back and see what we think of it, and yeah, looking forward to this. So Alright, we're back. I let this sit in the glass a little just to open it up a bit. We're back with the Canadian Club Small Batch, Classic 12. As you can see, very dark in the glass, probably some caramel coloring going on, some dickering, of course. That's to be expected, really. Very viscous in the legs. For 40%, that's quite impressive. So yeah, it's mahogany in color, basically. Approaching mahogany anyway, somewhere between copper and mahogany, depending where you look at it in the light. So you know, even though it's small batch and 12-year-old, there's no way it got that dark, I don't think. Even with charred barrels, and these are American oak, I assume, barrels. So we'll go right to the aroma here. A very, I guess, standard in a way profile for a Canadian whiskey. Very heavy on the butterscotch caramel side of things in one side. And the finish is very woody. A lot of oak, a lot of oak. A little bit of cedar and vanilla in the finish. And I'm getting this creme brulee kind of thing going on. Smells very nice. Maybe a little bit of dark fruit. Nothing as intense as, say, the dark fruit notes you'll tend to get out of bourbons. And there seems to be a teeny bit of rye spiciness, but I'm not sure what the rye content is for this one, so. But I am getting a little bit of spiciness just around the edges. So we'll go to the aroma. Cheers, or the taste. Cheers. Oh, that's interesting. Like I said before, I was surprised by the legs, how viscous they are. The body on this is fairly good, medium-bodied kind of whiskey. I was expecting to be much lighter, but yeah, it's actually got some chewy, a little bit of chewiness to it. Another surprising thing is it's definitely not as sweet as I expected. I was expecting full-on caramel sweetness, accented by the vanilla. I'm not quite getting that. I am getting sweetness. It is, you know, I'm getting the caramel sweetness, I'm getting creme brulee. I'm getting some dark fruit like plum, date kind of thing. Again, not as intense as you'll get in like bourbons. But honestly, the sweetness is very dialed back. Very, very dialed back, actually. To the point where it just drops off, like, quickly. Like, you get it up front with everything, and then it just drops off to the finish. The finish is very dry, very woody, but it's not like intense, knock you over the head tannins or anything like that. It's just a very nice, dry, woody finish. A lot of oak coming out, a little bit of vanilla in it. A bit of more rye spice is starting to come out in the back of the mouth now. It's not particularly, there's no heat to it. It's warm going down, but there's no alcohol bite at all. The 40% is incredibly well masked. That's really good, actually. That's surprisingly good. This looked like, honestly, when I first look at the bottle, and I gotta apologize here, I gotta throw the ball for the doggy. Here you go. Oh, good girl. Good catch. Alright. As I was saying, everything about this is kind of surprising. I wasn't expecting a lot. I mean, I looked at the repackaging of this, and I figured, it's Canadian Club, how good can it really be? It's probably just, you know, trying to compete with the Crown Royal Black or whatever that came out. But, no, it's actually really good. It's really, really good. It's definitely better than their standard Canadian Club. You're definitely getting a lot more flavor out of the small batch. That sort of quality has definitely come out. If anything, the disappointing thing about this is that it's not cask strength. Man, I'm just sitting here imagining how good this would be cask strength. Higher alcohol, more flavor. Because the flavors that are here are good. There's nice complexity. Very nice dry finish with the little bit of rye spiciness. That's a damn good whiskey, man. I'd have to go B+. I'm actually really impressed with that. Caramel coloring aside, 40% aside, it's very, very good. So yeah, that's a B+. So Canadian Club, small batch, classic 12. Again, I said there's probably some differences between the batches. I did read a couple of reviews. I didn't, like, you know, read necessarily tasting notes. I was doing research on it, and I was just reading, like, history and stuff like that on this thing, and people were saying that the different batches, some of them were a bit sweeter or whatever. That was just what I got briefly reading up on this thing. So I don't know. The taste might differ slightly from person to person, depending on what batch you have. But as it stands overall, this is a really excellent. It's well priced, $29, something like that, for 750 milliliters. That's a good price. Canadian, that's a good price. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Definitely recommend it. B+. And cheers, guys. We will see you later. Bye-bye.